Hi, this is Harry Campbell from Biofeedback Resources International, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about temperature biofeedback applying the sensor. So this is a temperature sensor. This particular one is for the Thought Technology Biograph Infinity system. This same sensor will work on the 8-channel, 5-channel, or 2-channel, or 10-channel flex comp, and the end of it will either look like this with a white tip if it's an older one, or it'll have a black tip if it's a newer one. I'm not sure if they're going to change it again, but that's the way they are now. And on the end, there's not like a snap connector or anything like that. It's just a plain tip that's on the end. Sometimes people think it's a broken cable, but it's actually the thermistor at the end, and that's the part that should be making contact with the finger. So there's a few different ways that the sensor can be placed, and I'm just going to go over what's done most of the time. Sometimes people use regular Scotch tape, which is not the thing to do, and hopefully you can guess why that would be. It's because it's plastic, and plastic against your skin is going to generate heat. We're trying to measure the temperature of the skin, which would be affected by increased or decreased blood flow. And if we get increased temperature because of the plastic being against the skin, then that is what we would call an artifact or a false reading. The change is happening because of something other than what we're looking for. So we like to use either a cloth or a paper tape, something that breathes and is not going to generate heat of itself. So I'm just going to take a piece of this tape here. This is a wider tape, and there's some advantages to that and some disadvantages. I'm going to just cut this. You can just tear it if you want, but I just wanted an even piece. I'm going to actually cut this in half. You can get it in rolls that are not this thick, and that would be about like this to begin with. This is just what I happen to have right now. So there's again, a couple of different ways people will do this. You can tape the sensor like this, and there's some argument about whether the tip should be showing and not covered, or whether the tip should be covered. What I kind of agree with is to go ahead and cover the tip, and you want to have it so that the sensor is not sticking way out. If you have it sticking out like this, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, but let's say you have it out like that, it's not making good contact with the finger, so it's going to be measuring the room temperature, or an average of the room temperature and the finger, but not really measuring the finger as much. Now, another thing is that some people will say that you should not have the tape going all the way around the finger, because that's going to constrict blood flow. So if you have it going all the way around, that's constricting blood flow, and that's not good, because again, the changes are caused by blood flow, and if we constrict blood flow, then the temperature is going to tend to be lower than it could be if it wasn't constricted. So you could have it where the tape just doesn't completely go around like that. You could also put the tape this way, so I can make it a little bit better than that. Let's see, we'll go this way. So if you have it going like this, then it's definitely not constricting the blood flow because it's not wrapped around the finger, and that would be fine. If you do it this way, or even if you had it this way but not going all the way around, you might then take another piece of tape and put it somewhere down here to keep the cable from flopping around too much. Now, when you have the person's hand hooked up like this, if the sensor is here, you don't want the person resting their hand down on their leg, because now if their leg, just simulating using my hand, if their hand is resting on their leg, then they're going to be picking up, or you're going to be picking up the temperature of the combination of their hand and their leg, which will be higher than just the hand temperature would be. So they should either rest their hand on their leg this way, or if they're resting on an armrest and their hand is not making contact, the sensor part of it is not making contact with the armrest, that's fine. Or, sometimes even just making contact with the armrest, especially if it's not a hard material that's going to get either hot or cold based on the room temperature, that might be okay. So having it on the palm side of the finger, if they're not going to be resting their hand on their leg, is fine. If they're going to rest their hand on their leg, then what you can do is you can put it more to the side, so it's still getting the palm side of the finger, but it's more on the side. So now if they rest their hand on their leg, you would it wouldn't be making contact, so that would actually work okay too. Some people will put the sensor on the back of the hand. I don't do that, and I don't know too many people who do it. There's not as many blood vessels in the back of the hand, and it would be harder to increase hand temperature there, so I don't really see the point. Another place that people will put the sensor, which again I don't see it done that often, I've seen it in textbooks, but I haven't really seen people that I know doing it, is they would have the sensor here in the web dorsum of the hand, so it would look something like this. See that good here? So that's another place where you could have the temperature sensor. Okay. The idea is that there's a lot of blood vessels there, and it would be a good place to pick up temperature. I think that probably the fingers are better, because it's going to be more common to have decreased blood flow to the fingers rather than here, and so you would see more of an effect related to stress and then being able to increase the hand temperature to show relaxation. Another thing that people will do is sometimes they'll put the sensor this way and have the cable coming off this way. This is not as correct as far as the textbooks would say, but there's also, I don't think, been any research to show that the other way is going to give you better readings, but this is just what's common. And you do the similar thing if you were going to be working on increasing the temperature of the feet. You'd be putting the sensors on the toes instead, taping the sensor on the toes instead. When you do temperature training, you should have the room temperature at about 74 degrees. If you have it much less than 70, say 68 or lower, then you're gonna have you can make it more difficult for the person to warm their hands, because they're going to be uncomfortable, and just the coldness of the room is going to tend to drive the hand temperature down more. So I hope that is helpful. The other thing you want to think about is when you have the temperature displayed on the screen, you want to make sure that it's a reasonable level. So as you're putting the sensor on the person's hands, you should have an idea, especially after you've done this for a while, do their hands feel cold or do they feel warm or in between? And if their hands feel cold and you see a reading of 90 on the screen, then there's probably something wrong. If their hands feel cold And well, let's see, let me back up, make sure I got this right. So if you are putting the sensor on their hands and your hands feel warm and you see a reading, say, of 65 or 70, then most likely there's something wrong, and you need to check to make sure you have things connected properly and you have the software set up right and so on. If you feel that their hands are cold and you see a reading of 90 or 94, then there's probably something wrong and you would need to check things out. So that's something that you want to be aware of. And as far as artifacts, a lot of times people think of artifacts mainly being when you're doing EEG or EMG, you're thinking of electrical artifacts. But with temperature, there can also be artifacts. So things that would cause artifacts with temperature would be the room temperature being too cold or too hot. Also, if you have air coming from a air conditioning or heating vent, a fan, an open window, a draft can cause the temperature to drift up or down, usually down. Hand movement will cause the temperature to drift, and also changing positions of the hand. So if the hand is higher and then they drop the hand, there would tend to be a change. Or if their hand was lower and they raise their hand up, there would tend to be a change in blood flow. So those kinds of things can cause artifacts or false readings. Again, hope this was helpful in helping you learn how to apply temperature sensors. If you have any questions, you can give me a call or you can send me an email. The phone number in the office is 914-762-4646. Email is harry@biofeedbackinternational.com.